Power Core.
Hey, PowerCard channel. Today we have someone from Norway, someone who wrote the history of rock and roll somehow. We are here with Anne from Gluecifer called Captain Poon. Thank you, Captain, for being here on PowerCard channel.
Thanks for having me.
I would like to start from the end, I guess, from today, from the present, from the same drug, the new high, the new album from Gluecifer, because it's really, of course, I listened to it and as fan, and I can confirm that it's the same drug and it's a new high. How can you explain this after so many years? How can you keep alive this energy, this as a band?
I guess first and foremost, we've had such a long, I wouldn't say a long break, because the band we were like broken up for real. We were not just taking a break, and I don't think any of us had ever expected Gluecifer to come back together at all. That was never a part of the plan, and making a new album was never a part of any plan. So I think things just came together in a natural way, due to the fact that we were doing these reunion shows after 13 years. We were having a great time together. It felt like, a new kind of love, and after a few years into this reunion shows, we came to a point where we thought that, okay, now we've been playing all these old songs for quite a few times again. It doesn't feel like it makes any sense for us to continue. If that's all we have to give, if that's all we got, then we should probably just put the whole thing back on ice. But then again, we had such a great time being together, and like the energy that we had together, we were like, okay, we want to give it a shot and see what happens if we start writing together again. And as this came along, we of course it was a little hard to find the right path. What do we sound like 20 years after our previous album? But after a while, I think we found like a fairly good path, and all along we were like, okay, if we don't feel that this is as good as we used to be, or even better, then it doesn't make any sense for us to release this record, because we are not the kind of band who's like squeezing out the dollars. If we want to go back to our lives that we've had for so many years without Gluecifer, we can do that.
Yeah.
But if we're able to keep on and do something good together, that makes both us and our fans and listeners proud. We'll give it a shot, and I think it turned out very well.
Great. I was living in Hamburg when I bought Automatic Thrill CD, and it was my soundtrack when I was living there. And I would like to understand that your music changed with your lives. I mean, as you said, 20 years have passed. So what changed on the sound, in your opinion?
I think that we with this band, when we started the band, we were like a very high energy punk rock band, playing fast songs. Everything was like put on 11. There was not a lot of dynamics. It was like very fast and energetic, and along with our career, we wanted to try some new things. On the Basement Apes record, we were working with a different kind of producer who put some like new music elements into our sound, and on Automatic Thrill, it just turned out to be a pretty hard and heavy album without us having like any kind of thought behind it. We kind of make the kind of songs that feels right at the time, and that was the same thing that went with Same Drug New High. We in the beginning we were like discussing, okay, do we want to make an album that is like this or is like that? But after a while we were like, we can't think like that. We just have to come up with an idea for a song, and the way the song turns out is the way it turns out.
Yeah, yeah,
and whether that is like super heavy or if it's a little softer or if it's more groovy or whatever, that, that's just how it is. And I think that's what makes Gluecifer sound like Gluecifer. If we
yeah,
were, of course, in reviews, the journalists, they always try to compare it
yeah,
to, oh, what's your influence, what bands does this sound like, they always do that, and in our case, we've always been, uh, you know they're they're always writing, oh, this is like MC5 or Stooges and stuff like that. And I think that if you listen to a Gluecifer record, of course you can hear that our influences are coming from punk rock, hard rock, maybe some heavy metal here and there, but it doesn't sound like these very like typical
yeah.
bands.
I agree. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And about the Bloodlights, uh,
Mhm.
the band you started while Lucifer was in standby, let's say. uh,
Mhm.
the Bloodlights will continue with producing new releases, or they in standby now?
No, we sort of just broke up the whole thing. We were having like a lot of trouble with like one of the guys in the band who was like quitting, coming back to the band, quitting again, and then we had to like cancel a lot of shows due to his fuck ups and all that stuff. So this happened pretty much at the same time as Lucifer was starting to do the reunion shows. And with Bloodlights, it was never like an issue like making money or anything like that. It was all about playing music and having a good time, because we didn't have that kind of commercial success or anything. We were just like, we were able to tour quite a bit. We were able to write music and everything. But when it turned out not to be fun anymore, it was very easy for me to just say that, okay, we put this on ice, and I will continue and see what happens with Gluecifer. So I'm very grateful that I'm able to put some of my creativity into Gluecifer these
Yeah,
days. That
yeah.
feels very good for me.
And if you should suggest one of the new songs from the new album to let's say a punk rock and roll kid, which song would you choose?
Uh, I don't know. I think it's a little hard on this record, because I think this is probably the first record where we play pretty much all the songs live. It's not. It's a little hard to pick your favorites, but maybe the title track, "Same Drug, New High." That's one of my favorites.
Yeah, great.
Mhm.
After so many years in music, what still gives you the motivation to pick up a guitar and write a riff or a song?
But the motivation to pick up
Yeah,
a guitar,
yeah,
yeah, that has been going. It's been a little bit of a roller coaster kind of thing. That you have your periods of time where all the guitars are just hanging on the walls or just standing in the studio or whatever. For me, I have to have like some sort of goal, with what I'm doing. I'm not the kind of guitar player who sits and play along with heavy metal records all the time. I like to write songs.
yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah,
so this has to be like a very important factor for me, that I'm onto something. And I think the reason why it's fun for me to pick up a guitar and play is that I will not put this on a very spiritual level where I say, oh, the guitar is talking to me, so I have to take it down from the wall and start to play it. But I think you get some sort of feeling within when you've been writing songs and music for so many years. You have a feeling that, okay, now I think it's the time where there will be ideas coming along,
yeah,
because I never force out anything. It always feels kind of natural when I write stuff. So if I don't play the guitar for some time, it's probably just because my head is not in the mode where I'm able to write anything good.
yeah, yeah,
So I think I get the feeling that, okay, now it's time to play, and
yeah, yeah.
and then the ideas come along, and it's always kind of been like that.
Yeah. I'm from Italy. I'm Italian, so I have a straight relation with pizza. I
Hmm.
read that you are into pizza business somehow. You're
I'm
strengthening
into the.
pizza in Oslo. I would like to know how you arrived to this business.
I would say that this is like extremely coincidental, because I moved to an area in Oslo, which is a very nice area. Me and my wife live in this nice little house with a garden and everything, but it's very like close to the city center. But this little part of town, they didn't have like any restaurants, any bars, nothing like that. You know, for some reason I don't know, but there was just like this one little place on the corner, which was like a very shitty, awful fucking kebab shop where I don't think the owner of the place was taking care of anything. It just fucking sucked. I didn't even dare to buy a kebab in there because I would be food poisoned. But I thought that if this place at some point becomes free, you know, that it's probably possible to rent that little place on the corner. I will see if it's possible to do that. And after a couple of years, the kebab owner he moved out, and the place was empty. So me and a couple of friends who were like carpenters, they they thought that it was probably a good idea to make a place there. So that it turned out to be a pizza place was a little coincidental. That I ended up in the end as this sole owner of this place is kind of coincidental because the people I started it with they pulled out. So now I own the place, and the place is running very well. And I've also been working a little bit as a chef, you know, on the
Oh,
side.
great.
So I don't know how to make a pizza, but I know how to put together like good toppings and stuff that you can combine things and make it sound, make it taste good. So at this point, I'm not doing too much down there. I go by the place now and then and make sure that everything is all right,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah.
But it's a nice little pizza place in on the
In
corner, you
Oslo,
know.
I will come if I come to Norway. I will come for sure. I got
Yeah.
some rapid fire questions for you.
Hmm.
Gibson or Fender?
Gibson.
Gibson. Les Paul or SG?
These days, Les Paul. Previous days, SG. But now
Okay.
Les Paul. Mm.
Uh, your favorite Gluecifer song?
My favorite Lucifer song, I would probably say "Take It."
Great. Best band you ever shared the stage with?
Best band I ever shared the stage with. It's been quite a few, but I think when we were playing a couple of shows together with Queens of the Stone Age, when Dave Grohl was on drums, that was pretty
Wow.
awesome.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Your favorite guitar player?
My favorite guitar player of all times, you know, that must be Angus Young.
Yeah. And one band you think could should deserve more. I mean, one band is deserve more success in your opinion.
Mm, oh man, who would that be? That's also a hard one because I mean we always been listening to a lot of like
Yeah, yeah.
underground
Supporting
bands and
bands. Yeah, I know, I know.
unknown punk bands and everything, and of course everything you love you think would have deserved more success. Um, I go a little blank right now. I don't know exactly
No,
what
no,
to
no
think, to
problem.
be
I
honest.
can suggest you Gluecifer and Helicopters. I mean, you're famous, but not enough. I
No,
know.
we could have gotten a little more fame. That's true. That's true.
About Helicopters, I know you are friends somehow. I mean,
Hmm.
with the guys,
Hmm.
and I saw that you will be on tour together.
We will be on tour in Australia together next year. Yeah.
Yeah. What's the other plans for Gluecifer beside this?
Beside this, I think at this point, we can pretty much pick and choose what we want to do, because we were very clear on this before we started to write a new album, and even to put out a new album, that we will never go into the kind of groove where we do 100 to 150 shows per year anymore,
Yeah.
because that will just we would just wear each other out. Now we're able to keep it on a level where every show feels a little special. Every time we are coming together, it feels good, and it feels vibrant, and it feels real,
Yeah.
so I think that's the plan for the future, not to do more than we have to do in order to keep a tight unit, and keep on having fun with every show we play.
Yeah.
So whether that is to play shows with the Helicopters in Australia next year, then play festivals, and then a few club shows here and there. I would absolutely love to come and visit Italy again, because we
Yeah,
haven't been able
please.
to do that. Yeah, we
Please.
will do our best to make that happen
After so
for
many
sure.
years.
Yeah.
Hey, Captain, thanks a lot for your time. It was really a pleasure to have a talk with you. I hope really Gluecifer will come back to Italy soon, and so that we can meet in real life.
Where in Italy do you?
In Tuscany. I live in Tuscany.
In Tuscany. Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
But I'm ready to move. I mean,
Right
to
on.
drive.
Right on. Okay. Now I hope we get the chance to see some of our Italian fans again in the near future.
Thanks a lot.
Okay. Thanks,
Bye-bye.
man. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.